What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know we toss it up. We toss it up over here, right? But before we get to tossing it up, we're gonna get to the intro. Let's toss the intro up. Welcome back, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put the notification bell on all, ding, so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. I'm very humbled by your support. Gracias. Who's ready for Super Torta Part 6? Whoopin', why'd you leave us hanging? Calm down, Rick. Calm down, right? We're going to get to it, man. Super Torta Part 6. I'm sorry I left you guys on red, but man, your boy was on green. I was going this weekend, but now I'm back, man, and I'm ready to make it happen. So, if you guys recall, man, we were at a wedding, the Wedding Crashers. The wedding happened, man. Everything happened. We've been through a lot of different situations, but this situation even boggled my motherfucking mind, right? I couldn't believe I was able to make it happen. This is when I was certified and I knew, damn gun, you really got game, right? I had to use super duper game to pull this one off. So after that incident happened, and I know I was going to elaborate more on the incident, but I'm going to save that one for a Super Tia episode because they got involved slightly, right? So we're going to use that for that. But time passes. Time passes, and you got to remember that at this time, I was fucking with my ex-wife. We were staying together, and I came home and cold busted her, right? I was not heartbroken, but I had a broken heart. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I was shocked. You know, the clapback was real, but it was the clapping sounds that I heard in the room that were even realer, that kind of upset me. So anyways, right? One day I'm at work, man, we're living together. You know, we're just roommates, right? Roommates that I'm like the one roommate that just gets on my mon all the time. Oh, did a Jack Tripper, right? I was getting my Jack Tripper on. Come on, Janet, put this in your mouth, right? So I'm just chilling, doing my thing. I was getting my Mr. Furley on. And I remember getting to the house and my key didn't work. The key situation was not keying, right? So I had to knock, boom, 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 boom. And I heard some scurrying going on, right? And I was like, man, ain't no way, right? Scurrying going around. I said, man, we had a couple cats in the house. I hated those motherfuckers too, right? But I was like, maybe no one's here. Maybe something's going on with my key. All these different maybes went deep in the back of my mind. She's in there boning a black dude. I already know it, right? Why do I say black man? Because they just seem to be the ones always to win, right? So I went to the window and popped that motherfucker, right? I slid that motherfucker open. Right? The breeze hit me, the AC, they had the AC blowing and I could hear unusual sounds going on. I said, damn, them cats in there doing some wild shit. So as I slid in, right, I remember I cut the shit out of my leg on the, like, you know, on the window, they got the little metal parts on the bottom. I scraped the shit out of my leg. I was like, I'm being loud. Then the sounds kind of stopped. And it was then I knew the clap action is real. So I got quiet. So I crept down the hallway and this is what I heard. But she wasn't making no aggressive sound. So I was like, he's enjoying it, but maybe she isn't. Man, I opened that door and she was in there with the biggest white man I ever seen. It wasn't no black dude. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't. It was a white man, bro, right? He's in that motherfucker like, yeah, awesome. Yeah, turn that way. Awesome. I was like, unawesome. What the hell's going on here? Roommate, right? And my ex-wife's in there getting clapped back. I thought we were working on a relationship, you know. Every night when I slept in that bed, it was a relationship. But when I woke up, I was just a roommate again. She was like, get out of my room. I said, do we have milk? I'm having me a bowl of cereal because I'm disappointed right now. And when I get disappointed, I like honeycombs, right? So I was sad in a motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie. Like, damn, this bitch done got me back. She came out with a robe on. She was like, how'd you get in? I said, through the window. I left the window was all open. The curtains all breeze, right? There's fucking people walking by in the hood, right? And they could hear the argument. And the dude's getting his pants on. He's like, hey, bro, my bad. I said, nah, man, I guess I'm just a fucking roommate. How's it going, though? Was it good? He's like, what? I'm like, because I'll tell you right now, last night it wasn't that good. I'm hating like a motherfucker. He's like, hey, I got to get up out of here. Should I call you after work? She's like, yeah, call me. I'm like, no, don't call her. Hold up. What's going on here, right? So she's like, look, I need to tell you that that's my boyfriend. We're going to be together. You need to move out. I said, so just like that, you're going to throw your ex-husband out on the streets? She's like, yeah, of course. I only let you stay here for a little while. So I'm like, fuck it, man. That's what it's come down to, you know? So what do? I end up moving in with a couple homeboys, right? They're like, damn, bro, every time you argue with these chicks, you come sleep on our couch. I said, motherfucker's dented. That's got my indention in it right there. Look, if you look right there against the thing, you see a big old long fucking thing. You know what that is. That's my indention. So I'm there all miserable, like, damn, I can't believe my ex-wife did me like this, right? Watch how it's going to work out for her, though. She's going to need me one day. Oh, yes, she did, right? So somehow along the lines, I meet this chick, right? And we're having a good time, man. And she finds out who my ex is. Not the ex-wifey, but my ex, the baby mama. And that's one of her homegirls. And she's like, she calls me. She's like, I didn't know you had a kid with this chick. Like, this is my homegirl since we're young. We're not going to be able to see each other anymore. I said, can I get one more, Mamon? Like for the road? Just one more. Like, I'm not even begging. I'm just asking. And she was like, no, that's nasty. I can't do this. Nasty. What was nasty is what we did the other night. Now, that was some nasty shit. You know what I'm saying? That was some shit I don't even want to speak on. That was nasty, right? But this right here, this is like, what do you call it? Like, this is regular, right? Can I get a regular mama? Like, she's like, hell no. She hangs up on me. So now I'm asked out. So the homeboys are like, damn, bro, back to solo. I said, I'm done with these fucking chicks, man. I'm just going to go out there and fuck tortas and hood rats from now on. They said, that's what they all are. I said, I know, but I put a title to them, right? So anyways, somehow along the line, that gets me reminiscent about my baby's mom. And I call my tia and she's like, hey, and it's weird how the world works. You speak shit into existence. The energy of the world that you put out is what comes on, right? So I'm talking to my tia and she's like, guess who came by with the baby? I said, what baby, man? Shit, don't. I hope no one's saying that it's mine because I'm good. She said, no, your kid's stupid. Your baby mama. And I said, for reals? And my heart started fluttering. Like that, I said, like a motherfucker's on crank. I'm like, how does she look? She said, oh, the baby looked fine. Not the baby. I know the baby looked good. She looks like me. How does she look, right? She says, I don't know, like she always looks. Were her nipples hard? Or, you know what I mean? So my tia's like, that's disgusting, right? I said, look, man, you got pictures? So she sends me pictures and she was looking fantastic. So I'm like, did she leave a number? She did. She said to get a hold of you so you can come see the baby. I said, 100 on Paru, right? So I called immediately, man. She answers. She's like, what's up? You want to see your daughter? I said, hell yeah, I want to see my daughter, man. Over there holding her in hostage like in Vogue, right? Trying to hold on. So she's like, don't get tough, motherfucker. Because I was like, man, why do you hate me so bad? What did I do? Oh, you know what you did, right? Going back and forth. Are you still living with your wife? I said, who said that? She knew all my business because my tia, he's all there with this fucking wife. Remember that one, the fat bitch? Yeah, that's who he's all there. He's all there with. Yeah, the other night I went over there. They were oohing and eyeing and oohing. No, it wasn't. It was her and a white man. But, I mean, if she was oohing and eyeing, I'll take that one. Maybe that was me. So anyways, we get to talking. She's like, come to Livingston, right? That's where she was living. She had her homegrown. She was like, we're going to have a little birthday party. They're having a little pool for the kids, and you come see your daughter. So she was like, bring your daughter some candy, some treats or whatever for the other kids. So I did. You know, I pulled up. I ain't even going to lie. I was watching my back like a motherfucker. I was active too. But Livingston is different, right? So we're all in the backyard. Roosters. You already know you're in Levi. You hear roosters, northerners, show in the background. I'm like, oh, shit, this is a northern city. And I'm kicking back, and her homegirl's right there. Everything's good. I see my little daughter. I'm happy. Like, man, I hadn't seen her in a minute. Her mom, was, you know how fucking baby mamas play keep away from the fathers? It's called keep away. She was playing keep away. So she's like looking at me. Next thing you know, she's sitting by me, and then she's sitting closer. And then, next thing you know, I'm rubbing on her booty a little bit, and my daughter's playing in the pool with her friends, and her friends looking me up and down like she's shaking her. She keeps shaking her head. I said, what's wrong with you? She was like, you did my homegirl dirty. I said, I didn't even do shit to her. She left me for nothing. And then I got dirty with some other chicks. But she forced me back into that chick's arms. To the arms of the angel. She did that. I didn't do that. So her homegirl's like, whatever, fool. I know her homegirl with good circle madre, right? She's her best friend. So she was like, she's crying that my baby's mom's crying. I can't believe you. I can't believe. I go, oh. Her friend's like, go in the room, right? So boom, we're going in the room. We're doing our thing, right? She's watching the kids for us. And she's like, we should be back together, huh? And I was like, we should, yeah, hell yeah. Fuck yeah. For my daughter's sake and for my Tortas sake, we should, please. I'm sleeping on a couch. Help me, right? So help, guard. So she's like, okay, we stay in these little apartments. They're over here, but there's hella northern, there's hella ghetto. And I was like, shit, well, it's right up my alley. Let's go. I'm trying to get right up your alley again. So we're having a good relationship for like about a month. And I'm thinking, damn, I got my girl back. The one I was ever in love with. Like my wife, I'm not going to lie. Like I told you, I married her for convenience. See, to me, she was like a 7-Eleven. Sometimes I wanted a Slurpee. Sometimes I didn't. You know, sometimes I wanted a pack of frajos. Sometimes I say, I'll go get some tomorrow. You know, that type of relationship. But this one, ooh, I wanted everything she had. That's good. She was like Costco. I wanted all the samples. Orale. And I was going to give her the hot dog with the Pepsi. We're winning. See, we both win. So everything's going good when my phone rings one day. And anytime my phone rang, this chick, she didn't trust me. I had priors. I had Richard Priors. I'm, delirious. Got him curious, right? She looks over when my phone rings and she's like, put it on speaker. And I look and it's wifey. And I said, damn, man, I should have deleted her shit. I should have blocked her. But this is way back in the days before everyone, it was just easy to block. Like you had to do some star 69 shit and all kinds of shit. Like I didn't know. I was like, fuck. So I was like, nah, it's cool. I'll call him back. She was like, nah, answer that shit. Stop being like that. And I was like, so she got me in an I moment. You ever been in an I moment where you don't really want to do it, but you already know it's all fucked up. You already know this is going to probably be the demise and the end of everything you got going good. I was like, damn, man, she just started letting me put in her butt. Fuck. Anyways, right? Whopping. I try to be all, hello. That's how I used to answer the phone. Anyone that knows me from the old school, they'll say, damn, why you always answer the phone like that, fool? Like you're trying to fucking hide your voice. Hello. Yeah, it's because I'm smart. You know what I'm saying? I always use that thing. Hello. Hey, yeah, we're looking for gun. No, gun don't live here. And I'll hang up. Gun don't live here anymore. So I'm like, hello. She's crying. She's like, hey, that fucking dude. Remember my boyfriend? Yeah, he beat the shit out of me. And he's coming back over here. And immediately my instincts kick in because I don't like that stuff, right? And my girl hears it. And she feels bad because she wasn't a mean person, even though they fought a lot. And she was like, oh, you can't leave her like that. And she was like, I'm going with you. And I was like, well, who's going to watch the baby? She said, well, drop her off in Winton at my mom's. I'm going with you. Fuck that. We're not going to even though she's your ex-wife and all that, we're not going to let her get beat up like that. So I told her, hey, well, hold up, Mrs. Police Officer. Because remember, she used to be a dispatcher. Hold up. In this case, why do I got to go over there and take a penitentiary chance? I said, there's 911. Why don't you get some help there? She's like, you don't understand. He's going to kill me. He's going to come over. If I call the cops, it's going to be worse. And, white men are crazy. He's on methamphetamines. I said, damn, he's on that good shit. Who does he buy it from? Because I got a couple. We can make some money. And she's no, we don't got time for that. He's coming. I said, all right, we'll be there. Who's we? She didn't know I was back with my girl, right? I was like, me and Flor. She said, you and what? No, he knocked me out. I was on the floor. I said, me and Flor. Are you talking about that bitch? Flor's like, well, fuck you then. Go, white man. I'm like, oh, shit. So they're like yelling at each other. And I go, yeah. I said, look. And I said, we got to go over there, man. We're going to go pick her up. She's like, where are we going to take her? We're not bringing her to my house. I said, well, where are we going to take her? And the chick's like, you don't have to take me anywhere. Just make sure that he doesn't come back. So we go over there. We slide over there. We stop by my suegra. I could call her that again at that day, right? Just for a couple more days. But we drop my kid off. It's all good. Everything's good. Bam. We jam over there. I'm not going to lie. As we're pulling up, woo, this big ass truck is pulling out. It's like an SUV, like a Tahoe, a beat up ass Tahoe, too, primer gray and shit. And I go in there. She's crying, holding her shit. He got there before we can get there. That's good. It was, I don't know. It was more convenient for him. I take my time. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, I had to take a masa. It just is what it is. You know, when you're going to go put in work, you get nervous a little bit. Everyone does. They keep it real. I chorro. That's good. Not only that, the night before we ate Wiener Schnitzel. So, it was what it was. Come on, chili cheese fries. So as I got my chili cheese fry on, then we talked to this waiter for a minute, even though there was a woman in there getting her thing. Hey, out of sight, out of mind, right? And we're like, hey, look at the show. We're showing her pictures and shit. And then I remember, oh, wait up. I'm supposed to be saving my wife from getting her ass whooped, my ex-wife. So we go over there. Dude's leaving. She's on the ground. Like Cassie, right? And I feel bad because it ain't a laughing matter when a woman, and I'm pissed. I mean, not pissed enough to do something, to go chase him, but pissed if he came back. She's like, I got to get out of here. He's going to come back to get all this stuff. I got to get out of here. So my girl at the times, even though they hated her, and she's just looking at her like, good, bitch. That one time you pulled my hair, good, right? So she's like, you could come to my house. And I said, we, like Whack 100 in a cop car, driving it. I said, oh, shit. This is some phenomenal shit. So I immediately called my homeboy, right? I was like, hey, bro, guess what? He's like, well, I said, can I use your bathroom? She was like, there's blood in there. That's all right. I'll step over it. Guess what, fool? I got my baby mama and my ex-wifey. Let's get down. What do I do? He's like, you fucking get him in the pretzel. I was like, should I go pick up the game of Twister from Hasbro? Right? I think it's from Mattel Full. I don't know. What do I do? Like, do I play Uno with them and then hit him with the reverse? Or he was like, bro, this is a blessing, homie. And I said, yeah. He's all high and shit. This is a blessing, homie. This is like God himself is in your life. See, bro, I told you go to church the other day. It worked, huh? I was like, that shit did work, bro. I said 10 Hail Marys and voila, baby mama aunt. Shit, I'm gonna go back, right? So he's like, all right, keep me posted. All right, I got you. So I tell him, come on, let's go. So we gather her shit, whatever she wants to take. And she was like, should I leave my keys and just give up this place and whatever? I said, look, it's 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock is my own time in my house. I just want to get back before, because I'm winning somehow, some way. And my girl's looking at me like, don't even talk like that in front of her. And she's like, it is big though. And so anyways, they're doing their thing. So they jump in the car, and it's crazy because when we go to get in the car, they're both used to riding in the front, right? And I don't know what to do. Which one I'm gonna throw in the back of the minivan, right? So I'm looking like, kind of situation is this? Anyways, my girl, the one that I'm winning with, she jumps in the front immediately. The other one jumps in the back. She's like, yeah, something about this ain't right. I said, yeah, something about your black eye and your other eye closing ain't right either. Should we take you to the hospital? She's like, no, because then I'll have to report it. And then, and I said, no, because these bitches fuck around and say, I did it. I'm cool. I don't want no issue. Let's just go back. We'll throw a fucking pack of peas on it. And while I'm getting in my one, because like I said, we're wasting time here. So we make it back to Livingston to our apartment. And as she's coming, she's all beat up. And there's some Northerners right there. They're sitting in the front. I remember they were working out. They're doing their little weights. They had little weights on their porch. They said it like a little prison. It looked like fucking the Friday After Next, say, with Damon working out. They're like, what's up, homie? I'm like, oh, what's up, bro? They're like, who's the chick? They know my girl, right? They all try to bone her, but she just didn't give it up. I think, right? They say, who's the chick? She turns around. They're like, oh, my bad, bro. You know what I'm saying? You guys are in an issue and shit. I was like, nah, bro. They're not even tripping. They're like, oh, my bad. Hey, bro, when she heals up, tell her I want to fill up. So anyways, bam, she comes in the house. She's looking around. She's like, oh, this is a nice place. She could barely see it. She could see it like 10%, but she was like, this is a nice place. So my girl's like, hey, I got some sweats for you if you want. And I'm like, why is she being so nice? So as soon as she jumps in the shower, she tells me, you fucking asshole. If you look at her, if you do anything, we're going to help her out. She can stay for 2 days and she's gone. We'll drop her off wherever, which I don't understand why she didn't just go to her family's, because I would have immediately dropped off to her family, but it was like she just wanted to be around me. So my manipulation game went into full effect. And I said like this to myself, self, you've been down both these roads. Which road is the less traveled? Which was, of course, my baby mama. But then at the same time, my ex-wifey, there was a reason why I married her besides her family forcing us to, right? She had super nalga. See, one had real big tits, the other one had real big ass, right? So it was like the best of both worlds. So I wanted to be like this, right? So I got to figure out how to combine them two. So as I'm sitting there, we start talking and they're laughing and they're enjoying each other's company. And I'm in a wow moment. I'm in a que wow moment. I'm in a mind blown moment. So I have to get super duper, right? So I'm like, hey, remember that one time? Ooh, and my girl's looking at me crazy. Then there's times when my wife's looking at me crazy. And I was like, what about that one time when your homegirl tried to get in bed with us? I'm slick, right? And she was like, that was crazy, remember? I said, but you were down. She was like, I mean, I ain't tripping if she's a pretty girl. And then all of a sudden, my girlfriend, that was my wife, and my girlfriend at the time, my ex, my girlfriend at the time was like, oh, I've never done that before. I'm like, I'm over there trying to start a fire, right? I'm like, woo, doggy. You know what I'm saying? Bulldog. I'm trying to Fresno it. I'm trying to do whatever I can in a doggy moment. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do a doggy style with too. So I'm like, that's just crazy. Imagine if we would have met and none of this wife, she was, shit, you wouldn't be down. And my girl goes, shit, fool, I'm down for a challenge. And I'm like, I look at my wife like, please, fucking, I married you for a reason. Let's see where your heart's at. And she was like, what do you mean? Like us three sleeping together? And my girl goes, not like us doing anything, but like I wouldn't trip. And she was like, well, shit, if you don't trip, I don't trip. I said, I don't trip. Let's go. My vote is I don't trip. I got the I don't trip vote. Man, we went in that room. We got the feeling and touching and hugging and rubbing and kissing and loving. And I'm going to tell you something right now. It started to go good until my wife, reached over and grabbed my girl, right? My girl pulled back and she was like, no, this ain't right. And I said, but it is. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. You know what I mean? Come on, right? I have my finger in one school. Let's go, right? She's like, nah, nah. So she jumps up. She looks at me like, motherfucker, you better get out of my bed. You better get out of my bed. She's telling her. So we're all in the living room, right? All miserable, mainly me. And she's like, yeah, this is not going to work out. And my wife says something crazy. And she was like, hey, it's not that serious, man. Thank you for letting me stay here. And she goes, I'm going to call my brother to pick me up, one night Jack. And she gives her a hug, right? And when she gives her a hug, she's holding her. And my girl was like, man, I ain't like that. And she went to push her back. And next thing you know, boom, they start chunking them. I still had pussy juice in my mouth. From which one? I don't know. I was under the covers. Right? So they started fucking fighting. I had to pull them about hair. This girl already got a black eye, so she gets hit in her black eye. Have you ever seen someone's black eye get a black eye? I did. Right? So I'm like, damn, how did we go from a Ripley's Believe It or Not moment to a can you believe this shit moment? Right? Her brother came. He got all crazy with me. He's like, hey, man, why you do this to my sister? I'm like, I picked that shit. Hey, go to her fucking white, though. Dude, the surfer dude that you hooked her up with, your homeboy, fucking Chad. He's the one that did this shit. I didn't do this shit. I tried to save her. He's like, what are you doing over here in Livingston? It's too gangster for you. There, you can hear the homeboys outside. Shower! I'm like, anyways, quietly as is kept. That was it, man. She left. And she was like, my girl was like, I can't believe you're disgusting. I can't believe you talked us into that. I said, you guys talked me into it. Come on, I'm the victim here. I'm the victim. You guys used me. You used me like a pawn in your funny game. Your fucking Game of Thrones. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, there's only one motherfucker that sits on the throne. She was like, it ain't you. I said, it's you, baby. Don't trip. You know what I mean? And we end up having a good time that night. And I slipped a couple times. I was like, damn, you got a big old butt. She was like, no, I don't. Because she just had a nice little one, but she had big old cheeks. And then she was like, oh, you're talking about your wife. I said, no. I'm not talking about her. I'm thinking about her, but I'm not talking about her. And that was it, man. We're going to continue it because guess what? There was a knock at my door. I'll give you guys one guess who it was the next morning. One never knows, does one. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. And that definitely is the betterment of all people and the guns out.